which is a student panel. And one of the things that we in Hawaiian Studies try to do at our campus is to really empower our students to do their own exploring and thinking about our situation as a people, as a community, and as an individual, and to figure out for themselves what they want to do about that. So we have an esteemed panel here of 3 wahine that are students at our campus at today. And I heard one of them, somebody said like, oh, they're asking like, why did you choose me for this panel? And I was like, well, a bunch of different reasons. So I'm going to introduce Lexi Figueroa on this end.
Aloha.
Lexi was in my summer bridge program, but she also gave a really awesome testimony at the Mauna Kea hearings, and I thought, oh, the next time I do a panel, student panel, I'm going to have Lexi. So mahalo.
Aloha.
Our next panelist is Pua Pali. And Pua has been in a few of my classes, and she also works in the lab with us. And I think she brings a really important perspective to education as a parent, as a parent of children in immersion, and as a student trying to create that journey for herself and for her family and for our community. So aloha. And our third panelist is Kamale Roback, who is presently a student in my class. And last semester, she was a student in Kale's class, and they had to submit videos as part of their final. So I don't know if students know this, but sometimes we all watch them. And so we all watched hers, and I thought, oh, the next time I have a panel, I'm going to put her on the panel. So that's why you're here. I never told her that. But so anyway, yeah, mahalo. Let's welcome them. So I've prepared a bunch of questions for them, and they've had a little bit of preparation. So I'll just follow. I'll moderate this, and we'll begin with our first question, and you guys can start however you want. Whoever wants to go first. Let me get to my question. Okay, so the kumuhana, or the topic of this particular panel, is really Hawaiian student perspectives on education. And I think we're just going to go start with the first question. So here it is. Have your educational experiences in elementary, middle, and/or high school nurtured the development of your identity as a Hawaiian wahine?
Aloha. I think for me it did, but it wasn't until my junior year in high school where I really started to consciously develop and nurture who I was as a Hawaiian. And this is because at our school you had to choose what academy you wanted to go into and be in for the last 2 years of high school. And when you did this, you had to make sure you completed all the required courses that pertain to that academy. And I chose to go into the Science and Natural Resources Academy, mainly because I heard you go on plenty field trips and you work outside a lot. But because of this decision, I think my mana'o changed in the sense that I had a deeper understanding of the importance of malama'aina. And because of this decision, it really got the ball rolling for everything that was to come after that. Yeah, thank you.
Aloha mai. My educational experience from elementary, middle school, it didn't nurture any Hawaiian part of me at all. I didn't even know who I was. What they teach you in public education has nothing to do with who you are as a Hawaiian. So my whole life I knew I was Hawaiian, but what does that mean exactly? It wasn't until high school when I realized I got the opportunity to go to Aotearoa with QLCC, the Kuilili Children's Center, took us to one of the WIPSI conferences where I got to meet all these beautiful indigenous peoples, and I realized, whoa, Hawaiian is more than just an ethnicity. Yeah, we have a language, we have a culture, we have a connection to this aina, to each other. I didn't learn that in school. I didn't learn that in high school. Yeah, I think that answers that question. Okay.
Aloha mai. So similarly to Pua's story, in elementary, I knew that I was Hawaiian, but I didn't really put meaning towards that. I danced hula and I joined the Hawaiian club in elementary, but I kind of was just going through the motions. I didn't really know like what it meant to be Hawaiian and what Kuleana came with that. So similarly to Pua, in high school, I got to go to Aotearoa, and yeah, that's when I really realized that their culture there is it's just so normal to them, and it's not like there's no separation between like people who speak Maori and people who don't, or who practice their culture and who don't. I feel like it's just a part of their routine and their everyday lives. So when I came home, I was kind of irritated. Like, I feel like there's so much that we have to offer and that we know, and I didn't feel like we could say that yet. So I really wanted to figure out more about myself, and that's how I got into my culture.
Mahalo nui. Sort of a continuation of that question is there anything about that educational journey that you would change or you would add in regards to your identity as a Hawaiian wahine?
I think for me, there's a few things that I would have changed about my academic standings in high school. One would be to have continued Papa'olelo Hawaii and to taking it more seriously when I was in it. As well as all my other classes, I wish I took them more seriously and was a better student in high school. I also wish that I would have taken advantage of all the opportunities and resources that were given to me at our school to truly dial into being Hawaiian, because I know that that was a privilege for us at Kamehameha. And not only that it was offered to me, that it was also encouraged, and I just regret not taking that opportunity. Yeah.
Mahalo.
One of the things that I would change in our public education system is, well, it's happening now with our Kaiapuni program, yeah, is teaching our keiki to instill in them a foundation of culture, language, and values. I think it's so important to know your identity before you pursue anything else in life, because if you don't have a general sense of who you are, you don't know what you want to do or where you're going. Yeah, so to instill that, like we're seeing in Kaiapuni, the start of building that foundation, that's what needs to happen more, I guess.
Okay,
I
mahalo.
agree. I think too, like, it's so important to start educating our youth from such a young age, because I think, like, well, personally, with what I grew up with, it was you learn what purple is in Hawaiian and like very basic stuff. And I feel like we can't underestimate our keiki. Like, they're so impressionable, and you can learn so much just from a young age. You know, even though they'll like develop what they know over time, they still like should know more than just the very basics of Hawaiian. And I think too, like, I credit a lot for my school, because without my school, I wouldn't be who I am today. But I also think that something that I would improve is like encouraging not only staff but peers to just encourage each other, because I felt like in high school and middle school, sometimes it was like the same students were getting picked on to lead our school or to set an example, because it was just like something where people thought like, oh, those are the Hawaiian kids. But really, I went to Kamehameha, so technically like we're all Hawaiian by blood. It shouldn't be like, oh, you guys are Hawaiian and we're like the different groups of people. Like, I didn't like that. So I think like being more encouraging with each other, and like it only takes one person to get out there and like encourage someone, like, hey, I know like you might not like to public speak, but I think you have like really good points to say, so I think you should just go out there. I think that's really important and something that I would change. Yeah.
Mahalo. Okay, so this next question is about your present educational journey. And if you can share with us any ideas or experiences or epiphanies that you've had, basically, you know, on this present educational journey that you're on, how are you continuing to develop your identity as a Hawaiian, and what is that leading you towards?
I think for me, just being in a college environment impacted and influenced the way I think and internalize what I'm learning. As well as the Hawaiian Studies courses I took last semester and I'm currently taking, I feel like it made me more pa'a in who I am as a Hawaiian, as well as who I am as a student. And with that, I feel more comfortable like looking at the things that I'm learning and seeing it through a different lens. And with that, being able to form my own opinions and views about certain issues and topics. And yeah, just appreciate of that.
Mahalo.
For me, I graduating from high school back in 2006. I graduated not from a private school. It was from Lahaina Luna, yeah. So plenty mana over there. I didn't want to come to college back then. I thought college wasn't for me. I thought that I wasn't smart enough. I thought only people with money go, you know, only people with parents that support them go. I wasn't one of those. So up until 3 years ago in 2016, 10 years, mind you, after graduating high school is when I was like, I like give them one try. I like see, you know, it blew my mind, guys. I love learning now. I feel blessed every day I get to come to school. It's pa'akiki with keiki, a part-time job and full-time schooling, but it blew my brains wide open. I can't thank enough our kumu, all my kumus, you know, that I've had this far. It's an amazing journey, and I like get my PhD one day now, you know, coming from. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, so I don't know what the question, I forgot the question. Did I answer it? Okay, let's move on.
You answered it.
So for me in high school, starting off, like I didn't even understand the concept of college as a freshman. So I was kind of just going off of like what my kumu were telling me, and like not all of them, but some of them were telling us like, oh, don't take Hawaiian language as your language requirement because it's not going to count towards when you leave to go to the mainland. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? How come? Like, I didn't understand that. So I took Spanish, and I regret that so much. Like, I mean, I'm Spanish too, but I'm a Hawaiian living in Hawaii. Like, I want to learn my language, and I can't, like, I still look back at that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you, like, let them tell you what to do. But, so when I was, like, making the decision of, like, where to go, a lot of kumu told us too, like, always try to go to the mainland, you know, like, you should push to go there. And I was like, okay, like, I still don't understand what college is, but okay. And then, you know, like, financial-wise, I was like, no, I'm just going to stay home because just it's less of a burden on my family and for me as well. So when I came to school, I tried to not let that like negative mindset hold me back from learning. And I'm honestly so glad that I'm here now because I've learned so much, and like our kumu here are so supportive, and they don't tell you like what to do or how to feel. They're very like open and stuff. And I feel like just in college, you're not held back as much as high school, and you're free to think however you want. And like in your classes, people are there and they want to learn that subject. It's not like, oh, I gotta wake up, I gotta school, and I'm like required to go into this class that I don't care about. So I think being in a more open environment has really helped me to learn more about myself. Yeah.
Mahalo. So this is sort of a follow-up to that question. So it was about, what experiences might have impacted your journey today, but also how has it affected the way, not you just think about yourself, but the way you think about Hawaiians or Lahui? Curveball.
Curveball. That wasn't on the paper.
It is. So kind of like, I mean, it's changed the way you thought about your own journey. So what do how has it affected the way you think about us as a people collectively?
So I had a lot of doubts in myself. Yeah, I was like, I'm not good enough for college. All of these things that kept me from not trying. The things that people outside of us say to us, like you were mentioning, oh, they told me to do this, so I went and go take Spanish. So we listen to that. The things that other people say or instill in us, oh, Hawaiians not this, they're not up to this level of whoever made that level, that expectation that we're not there. But I surprised myself when I came to college. I not to brag, but I got some pretty good grades. Like, and to hapaira kuleana with keiki and jobs, I was like, you know what? If I can do it, you guys can do it. You have no excuse. So if you just try, especially for the lahui, if we can come together collectively as a people together, and it's hard to do. We're human. We like to be independent, but if we can come together collectively, we can really get things done and holomua in whatever we decide to do with Hawaii, because it's still a kingdom, Had to throw that out there.
Mahalo.
I think for me, like, growing up, like how they were saying previously, like, it wasn't really in to be Hawaiian. Like, you didn't learn about it. It almost, like, didn't feel important to know your identity as a Hawaiian. But I feel like now we're going into a time where that's changing, and it's kind of like a revival. And just, like, seeing the generations above us doing all that they're doing for us, it's almost like our kuleana to continue their work and to do all we can to contribute to the betterment of our lahui. And yeah.
Mahalo.
I think for me, what I learned being here about our lahui is how diverse we are as a people, and how we should really embrace that. And like, we always need people to join our cause, and I really think that we should like encourage each other, to learn more about our culture and stuff like that, because we have so many people in our lahui who are so intelligent and who know so much, but they're just feeling like they're not smart enough, or they're not really like the people that can speak up. But I'm like, no, like, please do, because we always need more people for the lahui. And I think just like how intelligent we are, even though that's such a simple answer, like, that's really what I've learned here. Yeah.
Mahalo. Makai. Okay, next question. Exactly from the paper. What is important for Hawaiians as a lahui in the future? And then, what kuleana do you hope to awamo or carry?
For me, I feel like it is our kuleana to take advantage of the education we're getting here and everywhere, and take advantage of the fact that we are able to be Hawaiian at school and in our communities, and that it's a privilege to be able to do that, and privilege comes with kuleana. And also that we need to be united as a lahui and work towards things that are for the better of our people, like malama aina, and just knowing like without this land and the things it provides, like we're nothing. That's basically our foundation. And I just hope to carry that kuleana as well, that awareness of malama aina, and just take it with me wherever I go and whatever I do. Yeah.
Mahalo.
I'll agree. Definitely collectivism, us coming together as a lahui and pursuing that together as one, united, that's gonna get us. That's the ideal, I guess. Instilling in our youth, you know, who we are, where we come from, our culture, our values, that's so important. Like I said before, knowing who you are is essential to know where you're gonna go, who you're gonna be. My kuleana, I come from Lahaina side, and we have a kayapuni program there in a Hawaii medium education, but we don't have kumu. And that's why I went to school here, is because I want to contribute to my kaya ulu in Lahaina. I want to be a kumu so that I can kokua these keiki that are coming up that don't know who they are, yeah, that question themselves. Being in Hawaii, why is it so weird to be Hawaiian? Like when I grew up, I didn't know really what Hawaiian meant. So to be able to be a kumu and teach these keiki in Olelo Hawaii, who they are, their culture, you know, to have that, to kokua in that foundation, I think that's what will help us grow as a nation.
Mahalo.
I agree with what you guys are saying too about like coming together as one, because even though times are changing and we're all becoming more like socially conscious and accepting of each other, I still feel like there's certain disconnect between members of our lahui and feeling like, oh, because you graduated from here, like you know so much more, or like there's still these like butting heads with each other, and I feel like we can't move or work on certain issues until we like work on ourselves and working together, because each one of us knows something that probably the other person doesn't know, and that shouldn't be a bad thing, in my opinion. Like there's so much that we can learn from each other, and we're only holding each other back if we're not willing to just care for each other. Yeah, that's what I would think that we need to work on. And I honestly don't know what my kuleana is, aside from, you know, like malama aina, learn more about my identity, like within my family and stuff like that. But I believe that, you know, as I go through my studies and like as life progresses, I'll find which wahi I should focus my attention in. Yeah.
Mahalo. Okay, unscripted. They're like, okay, that was it. No, I have one more question. So, when you think about the landscape of our community here on Maui, right? Can you identify an issue or something that you think is urgent at this moment? Like when you look at our community, like, right? What is one of the important issues that our lahui is facing here on Maui? Or, could be Hawaii in general, but, what's a critical issue?
I would say the affordability of just living on Maui and in Hawaii in general, but especially on Maui because of the change that's happening right now in this time. What was the second part?
What do you think we should do about it?
Oh, I don't know. That's it's hard because when we're doing stuff like for our lahui, most of the time it doesn't come with the money that other people have. And I don't know, maybe just making more jobs that can benefit as well as make money and make things affordable for us here. Yeah.
Mahalo.
If you talk about affordability, I would. Hello? Did we go out? Put a cap on people who can come buy houses over here. One of the major issues that I see for Hawaii, because we are people that are so connected to our aina, is definitely the sustainability aspect of it. Yeah, how are we going to sustain our way of life? How are we going to feed ourselves if we're shipping stuff over from the mainland? If that was to stop, we'd all be in big trouble. So getting back to the aina, I think, is really important. That's one of the issues we are facing, is that we don't have aina to go back to. That's a whole different story. But if we could and grow our own food and be self-sustainable, not only would we benefit people here in Hawaii, but we can show the world, because if you believe it or not, climate change is real. We can show them that, if we collectively have that mindset to sustain our aina and to be self-sufficient, then that can happen in other parts of the world as well. And Hawaii is such a special place, and we have that lavena, to share with the world. We have that Maoli view of how to care for the aina without us being, I'm human, so I'm going to be the top of the food chain. And I'm sorry, I'm a sustainability major too, so it's I ramble off in this too. But it's so important because we love our aina, we want it to be here for not only us, but our keiki and our mo'opuna. So what are we going to do about it? We got to get back to the aina. We got to malama aina. Yeah.
Mahalo.
I think this connects too with how expensive it is to live here. Everyone feels like they need to leave Maui in order to have a good life or a sustainable life. And I feel for me, I just really want to see a 4-year Hawaiian program here. I can't wait to see that, because I feel if we had that here, there would be so many people, especially our Hamana, that would feel okay, I'm staying home. I don't want to go to Oahu. I don't want to go to Hawaii. My home is Maui, and I want to stay here. And I think a lot of people feel in order to gain the knowledge that they want, they have to leave. But I feel we have incredible kumu. We have incredible Hawana here. We have our resources. If we just expand on this campus, I think we'll be able to, just really progress in everything. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Can I add to her thing
Absolutely.
about sustain? So with sustainability and food growth, I think there's a sense of liberation almost about growing your own food and eating what you've grown and put your mana into. And it's almost you find your identity in that in a way, and it's just really liberating, I feel yeah.
Mahalo. Okay, so I'm actually going to open it up for some questions from our audience. I didn't put that in the thing, but and I'd really it takes a lot of courage for them to come up and sit in front of lots of these people. So mahalo nui, you guys. But I think it's really important for students to have this conversation with each other and to have that conversation with us and with their families and with other members in our community. So I'm going to open up for questions from our audience, and I have somebody in the back.
I want to say mahalo to these smart, intelligent young women for being on the panel.
Mahalo.
I give you a break because my question really is for Kumu. Out of a sense of gender equity, how come there are no kane on the panel?
None of them stood out. No, I'm just playing. I'm playing. I don't know. It just came out like that, actually. We just sort of all put one forward, and that's what came out. Oh,
I was just saying women are smarter.
just, we do have some men coming up, though. Any question? Yes.
How are you? Aloha. This question is for Rina. Can you share, you were part of a leadership called Mohala Alakai,
Aye.
and can you share more what that program is about and how it affects Hawaiians in general, and how you become leaders and you become part of this college, and how it can be so effective if it continues on?
Whew. Mohala Alakai, that was a hard semester. Mohala Alakai, I was part of the very first cohort. It was a Title III grant that Mu'o had, that they started this cohort. Shannon, my cohort over here, she was part of it. And we had to figure out what were the barriers for, it started off like Native Hawaiian people, because the program that we came from was all Native Hawaiian students. But as a college here, as one, we wanted to know what were the barriers preventing, what do they call it? Maybe, yeah, thank you. Student success. What were the barriers for student success here on UH Maui campus? And it was a lot of research and a lot of reading and a lot of, I don't know what to do. But we came up with the top 10 barriers. Don't ask me what they are, because I don't exactly remember them. But things like financial barriers that a lot of the students had. How are they going to afford college? What else was on it?
What was it?
Resources, knowing what resources are available for you. People like myself that have ohana and are working, how that was another barrier. So being part of that program really opened my eyes to be like, you know what, we need a lot of help. There's a lot of people out there that want to come to college or maybe think about it, but are not confident enough, are not sure enough that they want to take that chance because they don't know what they're jumping into. Yeah, it's like a leap of faith. But this program helped us to identify those problems so that the next cohort, like Auntie Lu, is seeing what we can do about those barriers, how we can fix that so we can get more student success here on the campus. So being part of that leadership, it was a big kuleana, but that made me want to step out further into my community and say, hey, what can I do? So that's my kai.
Mahalo. We have another question from Auntie Mopsy.
Aloha, I'm Auntie Mopsy, Protect Paia. But as a kupuna, you were taught as children to ho'olohe, yeah, to follow, respect what the kupuna says to you. I, as a kupuna, grew up in the Western world, and through my mo'opuna, they have taught me to come back. Yeah. How do you see yourselves as children to educate your kupuna and to try to make them understand that in order to move forward, we as kupuna have to move forward with you, the young people of Hawaii.
Mahalo.
That's a good question. I think just showing them like how, just examples of like, we don't always have to be stuck in the past, but we need the past in order to move forward. Like, sorry, I just keep bringing up Aotearoa, but Stan Walker, yeah, he's a singer there, and he made this music video that I watched, and the words were in English, but the music video was all of them like doing the haka and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And you know, I'm sure they like the kupuna there was probably some that were like, what is this, like, what are you doing? But I think if we show our kupuna, like, it'll be okay. Like, we won't forget about our past, we promise. But we're always gonna take that with us, and just hopefully that they'll trust us with that. And yeah, sorry, I couldn't think of a better answer.
Maikai.
Aloha. I think that we have to let our kupuna know that the way we move and the things we do and the way we are, we learn that from them. And even though it's not like black and white that it's Hawaiian, it is Hawaiian. And just moving forward with what we learn in school, with the way that we are and the way that we move, that's how we'll push forward in the future. And everyone from kupuna to small keiki will move together with that. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
And I'll just add, I think in this generation, like, or even our makua, you know, we realize the hewa that was done in your generation. Yeah, so we know, or we don't know what that was like for you to go through, having your language taken away from you, having all of these changes happening, you know, to you. So we see the hewa, and when we move forward, of course, we're gonna take all of us together. Yeah, so that's all.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.
To the panel, any one of you studied the Kue petition? And if you did, then I never knew what was the Kue petition until I had to find out for myself. The Kue petition told me that because my grandfather was 10 years old, he signed the Kue petition. And when he signed the Kue petition, the government of the United States recognized the people who signed the Kue petition. The Kue petition was to tell the United States that the Kanaka in Hawaii was not American. They are Kanaka. So if by any chance this Kue petition is correct, I am not an American citizen, please study the Kue petition. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
I just wanted to say thank you guys for being up here. It takes a lot to be able to speak in front of a lot of people. But my question is, what is your view on people taking interest in the Hawaiian culture, even if they are not Hawaiian, but they were born and raised here?
I think that's super maikai. If you're in Hawaii, you better learn the Hawaiian culture. you know, we want to share it, and we didn't ever have a problem sharing our culture. But what happened was we got taken advantage of, and that's the heba. So if you're not Hawaiian but you're here, or if you're from the mainland and you even come on vacation, you get into the culture with respect of our, Maoli perspective of it. Don't be this I was gonna say. Well, not arrogant. Just if you come to. Okay, just to let you know, the Hawaiian pizza with pineapple is not Hawaiian. It's just because somebody said it was. It is not. We don't like freaking pineapples on our pizza.
It's called the anti-mopsy pizza. Go get it at Flatbread.
Yeah, so learn the culture. Mai ka'i. If you're in Hawaii, if you're a visitor, whatever, learn the culture and have respect for it. That's all.
Mahalo.
Yeah, I completely agree with her. We all want to learn together and learn from each other and move forward. Not just as different peoples, but as people in general. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to learn other people's cultures. I think that's actually really, what's the word? Super good. Yeah.
I agree too with what Kamala is saying. We can always learn more from each other. We just have to make sure that we have a mutual respect, and we don't try to change each other. But I don't think there's anything wrong with other people that aren't Hawaiian learning about our culture. If anything, I think we want everyone to know more about our culture. Yeah.
Mahalo. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Oh, Smiley.
Aloha. So I totally agree about bringing back the education here, especially in a 4-year Hawaiian language accreditation for some of us, because it's so important to learn about our place. If we go to Hawaii or if we go to Oahu, we are place-based learning. We're learning about Oahu. We're learning about Hawaii. But we want to learn more about Maui. Teach us about our ali'i. Teach us about what these places really mean. What were they known for? Where can we take our keiki today to see and actually experience these things that our kupuna observed? So with that in mind, where are we towards that direction of bringing the language here back home for us with children, with families who can just pick up and go over there?
That is a great question for administration. Because we want it as bad as you guys want it. And some of us have to ha'alele to manoa or hilo to learn the language and know who we are. But yeah, like you said, we want to be here and learn about our aina and our ali'i here and our connection to it, because that's where we're pili to, right? I don't know, but we would like to see that. So if you want to start something, maybe a petition or something, I'm for it.
I think there's definitely a need for it or a want for it. Yeah, both. But I think we need to show administration, how Pua was saying, that we do want it here. I don't know why it's not in place, but I think if we all come together and we show them that we want it, hopefully they'll give us something to work off of. I would hate to think that they would just be oh, we can't do that right now. I don't want to think that, but yeah, I just think we have to show the want for it. Yeah.
Mahalo.
I think that's definitely a possibility and something to hope for in the future, especially with the way Maui is growing and the fact that now here is a UH campus and there's just like infinite possibility almost of the things that can happen here and the things that will be given and the opportunities that will be given. Yeah. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Any other questions for our panel? We have one over here.
Aloha. My question to you guys is, if you guys could learn from any past ali'i, who would it be and why?
Easy question, Lili Uokalani. She was the last reigning monarch, yeah. Today we remember the heva that was done to our Hawaii. But to imagine, like if you were there that day, if you was in her shoes, how would you have felt? Like you didn't want any of your people getting hurt, right? You felt these pressures of America, right? It was a big deal. Like how would you react to that? I think she did it in the most elegant way possible. She is my idol.
I would also say Lili Okalani. Not only like what she said, she was so elegant and graceful and she did what was best for her people, but she lived in a time where she had to adapt, going from old Hawaii to new Hawaii with the teachings of the missionaries and the Western ways, as well as the teachings of her kupuna, and just intertwining those two to the best of her ability. And she was also part of the women's movement before it was even a movement, and that's really inspiring for us as wahine. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
I agree too. My answer is the same, Lili'u. And something I just want to ask her about is like how she thinks our progression as a people, like in her eyes, is where we are right now, like what she would want us to look like, and if not, like how we can keep moving forward. I just want to ask her about that, yeah.
Mahalo. Great question. One more question. Rich.
I'm a kupuna too. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, where when I was a boy, nobody over 40 spoke English as a first language, and all that was taken away. The stuff we could have learned in the house, I had to go to school for. So the olelo is important, and that's why I'm learning, because I hope you'll let me stay when you get the land back. And then we had sustainability. We had big families, small houses, steel industry. All of that was taken away. We became service, just like we are here. Like the whole south and west side, that's gone. What kind of sustainability can you do for agriculture, for whatever else, and come together as Hawaiians to live together with the part of the island that you can actually settle, live on, and develop for Hawaii?
What was the question? I think we just need to stop freaking building so much buildings, like, cause even like just for example, going to the airport, how there's that new like structure thing. I'm like, why do we need that? Who, like, I feel like we do not. We were fine with what we had before. Yeah, that's just my answer.
I think in this day and age, it's all about economics, yeah, and it kind of gets political. But when we're talking about economics, like, we just want, well, the state wants to keep growing and we need money for that, right? But we're focused so much on the tourist industry. And that, like, it's not a sustainable cycle if you think about it, because we're going to be building all these hotels and stuff and ruining the aina and the resources that we're fighting for, water, you know, land. That's all going to be, what is the word for it? Like destroyed or depleted. Our resources are going to be depleted. So it's after you build all the hotels on all the aina that we get, then what? No more water for feed the tourists, not even for sustain ourselves. So I don't know. We do need to stop. Not completely stop building, but just make wiser choices. The tourism industry brings in a lot of money for Hawaii, but is that a sustainable thing for Hawaii? I'm gonna say no. We progress that way, but we degress with our aina, and that's the one thing we need to survive. So.
I very much agree with what they both said. We need to find ways to be sustainable and stop depleting our resources because they're not unending. And I think that comes with just educating people on that, even though it seems like it'd be common sense. I guess to some people it's not really so prevalent. Yeah, just educating people, getting back to the aina and reconnecting.
Okay, mahalo. I have a question here.
Aloha, mahalo for your ike. You know, growing up, I went to Kamehameha School, and I was learning how to become a good American, sadly to say. When I got out of school is when I got to find out who I really am. And so you folks have a leg up from a lot of us coming forward. We knew we was Hawaiians. We knew we had rights. We knew our kingdom was intact. We knew our queen was unjustly imprisoned, politically imprisoned. So what do you think your generation, with the knowledge you have now, can do to bring forward and bring back our kingdom?
Ooh.
Ooh. I think just continuing our education and trying to unite as a lahui, just moving forward to a common end goal. And with that unification, I feel like we can do anything, and anything is possible. Yeah.
Mahalo.
And I'll add to that, so educating about the heva is number one, recognizing it is number two, you know, and number three is we all gotta come together and figure out a way, because we can't go back to the past like how they lived before. There's so much that was done before that doesn't allow us to do that, but we can blend both together, and that's how we're gonna move forward in the future. Yeah.
Mahalo.
I think, like how Pua was saying too, we have to do a blend of both, because I think from our perspective, we've grown up with both sides, like the Hawaiian and then Western way of learning. So I think taking in technology and ways of thinking from both sides and moving forward is really how we're going to progress. And I think too, like a lot of people, not all, have this idea of like, oh, well, we're already overdeveloped and we're already in this state, so what can we do? Like, I think we need to stop that kind of mindset, because that's not gonna take us anywhere. Like, I think everyone wants change, but not everyone is like willing to accept the work that's gonna come with it, and I think that's what we need to work on together as well. Yeah.
Mahalo nui. So I would like to thank our panelists. I think I speak for everyone when I say I was totally impressed and blown away. And I thank you for your courage. And again, it's so important for us to have these sustained conversations about how we are going to move forward, living together on Maui as a community. And I think we've all sort of heard the importance of things that need to change. So many things need to change if we want to move into the future in a way that is good for all of us, and our lahui especially. So mahalo nui, people.
Mahalo.